Hi, I'm Dan. I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Watercress line. This is our Railway 200 community textile timeline of train travel history. So the project is all to do celebrating 200 years of Britain's railway history. Each group or individual is given a date, theme, lost railway line to interpret for themselves. How they interpreted their theme was completely up to them, and how they depicted it was also up to them as well. They were given historical information about their theme, and then it was completely up to them how they interpreted it, whether they chose one specific sewing technique to create their response to it, or if it was up to them how they did it really.
I was interested in the 1865, the opening of the railway, from Alton all the way through towards Winchester, because I live in Alresford, and that really was a great interesting period, sort of Victorians. Edward Knight from Chawton House, he'd been on the original committee that was trying to gain finance and money for the venture. Research-wise, we looked at the stations that were here. We looked at the period and tried to find old photos and pictures of the times. We managed to find an OS map of the period, and in fact one of the ladies embroidered it and followed the exact map size and scale on her work. I used some of my paintings that were onto the fabric of people who were wearing costumes and clothes of the period.
We had a group of students, it was my first year cohort, and they started off designing the panel, and then they had to learn some skills over a few months, and then they came back to the panels and actually made it in about 3 weeks. So yeah, collaborative effort. Yeah, so along the way the students learned how to dye fabric, manipulate the fabric. It would have been shibori, creating all the bubbles. They were thinking about the steam. The actual railway itself was another technique that they learnt over the project. Some machine stitchings in there, some hand stitching, and they learnt all those skills building up to doing this. A little bit, yes. I think they found out some fascinating facts. They were really taken with the dress of the time. So they were looking at, it was actually quite an occasion to see this Stephenson's rocket taking place and the crowd, so they wanted to have a look at that element of part of their work. I think they just enjoyed working on something together that would be in the public domain. Quite often, they work on quite small pieces, quite individual, so to actually have a group of students passing the baton, coming together and actually see their work in the public, I think they're really excited by it, yeah.
It was music and poetry inspired by the railway 1960s onwards. We were really excited when we come back each week with all our different ideas. We started off with the blues and gospel train. That was the first idea we come up with, which is the 1960s, and it was a disused railway station in Manchester, filmed by the Granada Studios, so that's real old school. There's a black and white video of it on YouTube. It was an event that brought over the American blues and gospel singers, and it brought that music to this country. What we've done is we've given you an insight so you can now share what we've learned by clicking on a QR code that's on our panel, and it takes you to the Granada video, black and white, of the blues and gospel train, music on the platform. It's fantastic. And then we decided, let's carry that theme throughout. Let's get people interactive, getting them to see what we're seeing and learn what we're learning. And poetry, one of our ladies loves poetry, so she'd come with all the books. We've got the night mail, we've got a little activity where we've got Cats, the musical, and we've got Skimbleshanks, and it's Find Skimbleshanks, so we put the first line of the poem in, so that links again to the night train, the night mail. But you can look for them. You can look across our panel, we've hidden 8 little Skimbleshanks ginger cats everywhere.
Longmore is quite bold statements. I just made the title as graphics, so I put that as the main focal point. And when I look through online about anything that inspired me, and I didn't know that Chitty Chitty Bang Bang inspired by Longmore and other films as well. This event is a good way to show the public that there's so much history that we don't really recognize, and sometimes people get lost. So it gives people to know that this part of the British history that we could shine a light on, and maybe there's so much more that we're not really aware of, and maybe inspired by other kind of sectors. As an artist myself, I can take this project into fashion, for example, like making railway through garment, for example. So with the skills I have, I can do that. It's just taking that chance really to show people what art could develop further.
I actually requested the piece, which is based on the 1930s railway marketing, because I've always loved the GWR adverts, the historic ones from there. So I was very pleased when we were able to get that particular panel. We searched for the original posters on the internet and saw the ones that we liked. We wanted to represent the different big 4. We've got 3 of the big 4 companies on there. We created them using sort of a raw edge applique technique, created all of the content ourselves for the panels, and then put them onto our 3 posters and linked it all with a railway track design going down through the country.
90% of the people that took part in it live on Hayling, and we're passionate about Hayling Island, and everybody found the Hayling Billy topic really interesting. We all took a different topic, so there's a stitched replica of a ticket, there's a badge, there's the official logo, there's the station master's cottage, there's the crossing gates at Langston, there's the bridge with the Hayling Billy on it. One of the girls used to go to school on the train, and she's depicted herself waving out of the window. Just fabulous. Lots and lots of different techniques, and everything's so interesting.
I was absolutely blown away by the standard consistently across all the different panels. They'd all been created by different groups, but they'd all chosen to do a different theme. And their styles were amazingly different but complementary. So the way that they all worked together and the standards that were shown throughout was absolutely delightful. There's no single panel that you think, oh, well, they've let the side down. They were all absolutely brilliant. I think it's been a really inspiring event for the Railway 200 activities for across the whole railway sector, because I've been out talking to people in the wider railway world, and those people who are helping to try and get some energy into Railway 200, and they've really pricked up their ears with the community activities that we've done, and helping people to demonstrate just how to engage communities who might not otherwise be thinking about their railway heritage, and really make them care about the railway network and its history and its importance, the absolutely huge social change that is demonstrated through railway history. And that's been really, really clearly demonstrated through this project, because not only have people come together, they've learned about their local community, they've learned about railway heritage, they've enjoyed meeting other people, they've enjoyed learning new skills within the making of the panels, as well as new knowledge about railway history and their local community. So it's been absolutely perfect, and all credit to wonderful Daniel Ball, who is our education officer, who's been putting that together.
I think that this particular project has brought in people from all over Hampshire, really has, who were not involved in railways. I wasn't particularly enrolled in the railway, but now have gained that interest. And I think that the way that the panels have been made and how they're going to be transported all over the county, they're going to be seen by so many people, children, adults, everyone's going to see them. And I think that's quite amazing to see talents of other people.
I think this is a really good way of involving lots of people in the Railway 200. Maybe people that aren't actually interested terribly in trains, but using the stitch, it's really generated a massive response.
This project is a new form of demonstrating new ways of celebrating, bringing people together from different experience, walk of life, and to celebrate the history of railways and maybe past in the future. So.
But yeah, it's been really fun. We've made some really good friendships. The group have loved coming up today to come and see all the panels and meet everybody. And it's been such a great theme to research and do, and we've made it colourful, we've made it fun.
Thank you to Dan. He's done a fabulous job pulling everything together, and he's got the patience of a saint, I'd say.
I've been kind of overwhelmed and amazed by not just how people have kind of responded to the brief, but also how the panels have brought people together as well, so kind of sharing their knowledge and skills, but also learning all about their particular railway line as well, and their date and their topic as well. So they've really kind of taken ownership of what they've done, and it's been fantastic to see how it's come to fruition from the very beginning, where they were saying, we might do this or we might do that, and we've got a few ideas, and then the outcome and the results are 18 amazing panels, all of which are very different, but they kind of depict their theme and their topic in very different ways. Today has been a preview of all the panels all together before they go out on tour, which will embark on a tour across local venues across Hampshire, from Hampshire Record Office to Hollicombe Steam Collection. If you want to find out where they'll be travelling to, visit the community projects page on our website.